So, welcome back. Picking up where we left off on our slide presentation on the introduction to the course. Just want to iterate that if you think about it, you can resubmit papers, you can resubmit assignments, and I'm going to help you study for exams. So, about the only way you can flunk this course is if you do something incredibly stupid or you just don't flat participate. As long as you're paying attention and you do the work, you're pretty much going to pass this course. And obviously the whole goal is not to make good grades. The whole goal is for you to learn something, so hopefully you'll be learning things as well. But bottom line is, clearly, if you flunk this course, it's your fault. There's no doubt about that. Okay, so here's the class schedule. Week 1. Yes, there are 2 things that are due at the end of the first week. Now again, don't panic. I have a syllabus quiz, which is a practice exam. And this practice exam doesn't really count against your grade, although you are required to do it. And I have a sample paper. And again, the sample... Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me go back. The sample paper is not really a writing assignment, it's a formatting assignment. I'm actually giving you the text that you're going to use to do this. So again, this is not a tough thing. So don't look at this and say, oh my God, I got all this work to do in the first week. Yeah, but you can do that in an hour or so. Okay, so essentially every week we're going to cover 2 chapters, and that's an awful lot of material. Midterm exam, final exam, this is how it's all done. All the paper, everything is due on this Sunday column, and all the stuff will appear here on the Monday column. I try to make it so that long-term things like papers appear like 4 weeks before they're due, so you can give you a lot of time to do stuff. Assignments are typically 1 week before they're due. 2 weeks. I'm sorry, they show up 2 weeks before they're due, and the tests are just show up the week that they're due. And that's to give you a little bit of headline. You can look ahead on your schedule and go, oh, okay, I know what the assignment is, and I can, accommodate it. So, here are the rules for doing assignments. Yes, there's a 5% late penalty per day. Please do use a file naming convention. We're only using Blackboard. And yes, multiple submissions are normally are allowed. I don't do group assignments very much. In an online environment, that's often a little tough. So no group assignments. Please do your own work, and please don't cheat, because you'll just end up annoying me. So please do take a look at the rubric, particularly the rubric dealing with the papers, which we're going to talk about in another video. Alright, so I'll go through this now, but again, I have another video to go for more. We are going to use APA format. Chicago style and APA are both taught at the university. Chicago style is really designed for literary works. It's designed for I'm writing a novel, or I'm writing something that's going to be published in an honest-to-God book format. APA is really designed for like journals, where you're writing an article for a magazine. So, quite frankly, Chicago style is not really appropriate for doing scholarly work, whereas APA is. And there's lots of other options, but APA is what we're using here. I do want you to submit it in Microsoft Word. You can do it in practically any software you want, as long as I can open it in Microsoft Word. When it comes to doing references, the gold standard for references are peer-reviewed journals. That means somebody has put something out there and the rest of the world has looked at it and had an opportunity to agree or disagree. If I just have some poor slob's blog out on the web and he's espousing his particular opinion on something, that makes for an absolutely horrible, horrible reference, and don't do that. Wikipedia, likewise, is never a good reference. Now, I'll admit, you can use Wikipedia go down to the bottom and find the real references that are used for the Wikipedia page. And if you go there, you can reference those guys after you've gone there and figured out what they're talking about. And this next bullet point is kind of self-explanatory, but you'd be surprised. I've been teaching long enough that I am totally, well, I used to be totally stunned by the crazy stuff I get in papers. But the point of this is to do research. It's not even really the point for you to write stuff. That's not actually really the point. The point is I want you to do some research. And I want you to add to the body of knowledge. Now, for some reason, that seems to be a tough concept for somebody, so for some people, and I don't really understand it. I'm not asking you to do some research and summarize other people's work. That's not what this is about. I don't want a summary of other people's work. I want you to generate your own content. I'm thinking somewhere around 10 or 15% of your paper ought to be original content. And again, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because we're going to go through this in great detail in just a few minutes. So, things to look out for. Yes, please read the grading feedback. I'm going to be providing you two different types of feedback. A personal feedback, which is in your assignment system. You're going to turn a paper in or turn a homework assignment in. I'm going to write little notes when I grade it. I'm going to send it back to you. And that works pretty good because you're getting the feedback that's appropriate to you. And then in addition to that, I'm going to do a sort of a generic overall feedback after I've graded everyone's papers. I'm going to post in the discussion forum what other people have done wrong. And the idea is that you can learn from other people's mistakes. Because you may have thought, well, maybe I should try that, but you didn't. So you'll never know that that's a good thing or a bad thing. And so the grading feedback is going to say, not all bad stuff. I'm not going to say, oh, don't do this, this, and this necessarily. I'm also going to say, this was great, this was great, this was great. So this feedback system is how learning is supposed to work. If this was a face-to-face course, I would say something and I'd look across the room and waiting for the eyes to light up. Okay, I got it. Well, this is an online course, and this is the only opportunity I have to provide you feedback. The problem with this scenario is you need to be watching your email immediately after due date. So let's say something is due Sunday at midnight. That means Monday, typically, I'm going to go and grade your papers. Okay? And provide you feedback and provide you an opportunity to resubmit a paper. Got it? Well, let's say that you didn't get around to reading your email until Tuesday. Oh, let's change it. Let's say you didn't read your email until Thursday. Now, you submitted it on Sunday. And so 3 or 4 days have gone. You finally get around to reading your email, and I say, that was pretty good, but you really need to resubmit. Well, you've wasted, 3 or 4 days of time getting back to me. If you had been there on Monday morning, you could have made like a 95 if you had fixed whatever the problem was and everything else was perfect. You would have lost 1 day, 1 penalty point, so 5 points off for that 1 day. But if you didn't read your email, well then, gee, I'm sorry. And so if you don't read your email and 4 or 5 days go by, and so 4 or 5 days, let's see, that's like 25% off, 25 points off maybe. Yeah, sorry. So please don't plagiarize. We are going to be submitting papers through a system called Turnitin. We'll go through it in detail, but it's a system that checks your paper against a database of hundreds of thousands of papers to see if you're plagiarizing or not. And the whole point of this thing again is not necessarily to write. That's not really the exercise. The exercise is you to do the research and to extend the body of knowledge. And of course, if you plagiarize or cheat, you really just end up annoying me. And somehow annoying the professor is probably not a good idea. So, about me. Hi, I'm Emmett Gray. Hey. I recently retired from Fort Hood about 2 years ago. I am a total geek. I'm a software kind of guy. I write programs. And I got a strange educational background. I got degrees in math, engineering, information systems. I do not have a doctorate, so I'm so don't call me Dr. Gray. I got a gazillion Microsoft and CompTIA certifications. Like I said, total IT geek. Again, I'm an adjunct professor, which means I don't have don't have an office, don't have a phone, and that means that practically the only way to get a hold of me is through Blackboard or the university email. I actually prefer Blackboard email, and that's the technique I'm going to use to get a hold of you. Now, I know a lot of people don't really like the idea of having a gazillion different types of emails. Well, that's fine. You can configure your Blackboard email to forward to someplace else. But Blackboard email is how I'm going to get a hold of you. Okay, so that's enough about me. And one of the things I'm going to ask you on your journal is a little bit about you. Like, where are you on this scale? You know, a scale of 1 to 10 of, oh my God, why the heck did I sign up for this course? On one hand, versus, ha, I could teach this class with my eyes closed on the other end. Hopefully you're someplace in between. You know, either like I'm got all the prerequisites, I'm ready to go, or maybe I've actually done a little of this before, or maybe I'm already proficient at it. So one of the questions in your journal is, where are you on this scale? Okay, so that is the end of my cool little slide presentation. And stay tuned for yet another video talking about how to use Blackboard. And I'll see you again in just a few.